This volcano is causing havoc, isn't it? Lots of emails from you guys back home. Peter says, this kind of puts ULEZ in perspective, doesn't it? It's pumping out cubic miles of toxic gases every hour. Sadiq Khan would have a field day in Iceland.
I have seen a few on that line of thought. Very good, very good. Yes, lots of carbon emissions there. But yes, this volcano has erupted on the Reykjanes Peninsula of the southwest of Ireland, and there were weeks of intense earthquake activity, but they weren't sure exactly when it was going to erupt because these things are often quite random. 4,000 people evacuated, a 3.5-kilometre crack in the volcano.
And many fear that the eruption could lead to mass travel disruption, not least me. I'm going there in 2 weeks. I'm praying to the travel gods to sort it out. In the week before Christmas, and similar to the ash cloud disruption of 2010.
Look at those pictures. Oh, my goodness.
It really puts into perspective the power of Mother Nature, doesn't it? It's, you know, look at the raw power and the smoke and the flames. 4,000 people, as you said, evacuated. Lots of holidaymakers from the Blue Lagoon, a massive popular hotspot for tourists. Funnily enough, as we mentioned a few minutes ago, that was closed for the past 6 weeks because they thought the volcano would erupt. They then, over the weekend, thought, oh, the coast is clear, we're going to open the doors, everyone can come back. And what happens 24 hours later?
Yeah, I knew my friend in Iceland, in Reykjavik, she told me that the issue is not the safety of people because everyone's been evacuated, but more the infrastructure. So the Blue Lagoon, of course, also energy, could there be blackouts and so on. But shall we speak to Simon Calder, because he knows all about travel. He is an expert. Simon Calder, thank you very much for joining us. Simon, so you're not in Reykjavik, unfortunately, or in Iceland, but you can tell us a little bit about, perhaps compared to the ash cloud we saw in 2010, which disrupted millions of passengers. Could this do the same?
No, it couldn't. I'm very, very glad to say. Let me just put this into perspective. And people will be perhaps looking and thinking, hang on, this volcano is 10 miles from a major North Atlantic aviation hub, Keflavik International Airport, and there's still flights going in and out. I mean, there was a pause last night. EasyJet delayed a flight by over 5 hours coming back into Manchester, and because they just wanted to make sure that things were going to be safe. But flights are going in and out perfectly normally. It's actually a little bit confused because there's an air traffic control strike that's been going on for weeks. But planes getting there, getting out. If you're going in 2 weeks, that's actually really good timing. Because as you can see from these images, the earth is very, very restless in Iceland. It's been bubbling away for 6 weeks. We've now got the eruption. It seems to be contained. And what they've got is a whole load of trucks on standby with loads of very big rocks.
Oh, has he gone?
Simon seems to have gone. He was in actually Krakow in Poland.
Warsaw. He gets around, doesn't he?
He was indeed. So there you go. Simon Calder does get around. He is a travel expert, of course. You always find him at the airport in trouble, or the country where there's...
Or on a yacht. We had him on a yacht one time on Patrick's show. Yeah, he dialed in from off the Arbethan coast somewhere on a...
But I mean, what he was saying there was that this is sort of normal in Iceland. Of course, there's huge amounts of volcanic activity and you tend to have earthquakes, but they've been monitoring. Oh, Simon's back with us. Excellent. Simon, what were you saying? Please do carry on.
Yeah, OK, so they've got truckloads of rocks ready to go to build safe zones around villages and towns. Already the Blue Lagoon's got rocks around it so that if lava starts flowing, it's not going to harm people. We're not yet at the stage where this is a tourist attraction, but in general they are, and probably in a couple of weeks you'll find that they're organising tours to go and have a look at this amazing natural phenomenon.
Simon, what would tourists find? Would it be the sort of solidified lava and that kind of thing?
Yeah, yes, and this is going to create a new bit of landscape for Iceland. It's a very, very modern country anyway. It just sort of emerged from the Atlantic. It's on the North Atlantic fault line between the Eurasian plate and the North American plate, and they converge in great style. Flights going in, as I say, perfectly normally. Everything is going OK, except if you want to go to the Blue Lagoon. And as you say, that did open at last, and then it closed fairly promptly as well. I would imagine that, of course, there's a lot of people watching who are thinking, hang on, I don't want to go. But look, If it is safe to go, you will be able to go. If it isn't safe, then your trip will be cancelled and you'll get a full refund. Personally, I would love to go there. Imagine flying in or out of Keflavik International Airport, especially after
I'll send you a
dark,
postcard,
and looking
Simon.
down and seeing that. Yeah. It will be fantastic.
Well, apparently you can see this from Reykjavik, which is where most of the population lives, and it's the most amazing sight. Obviously, a little bit scary for residents, of course, because you never know what way Mother Nature's going to go, and the lava is moving away from that town. But at the moment, you never know, essentially. But apparently the views are extraordinary.
And if I can just explain why it's not going to be like Eyjafjallajökull, the volcano which closed down aviation in the whole of Northern Europe for a week in 2010. Not like that.
Oh, has he gone again?
For that, no, I haven't. No. I'm all back here. For Eyjafjallajökull, you had to have a lot of water on top of the eruption. If you've got water on top of a volcanic eruption, then you could well get an ash cloud. With this, though, the conditions are not in that position. It's just absolutely straightforward. There isn't going to be a volcanic ash cloud, we very much hope. And so it's more of a kind of interesting tourist attraction, although, of course, our hearts go out to the people in the nearby town of Grindavik, which has been evacuated, because they are very worried about what they'll find when they're finally let back.
Simon, why has Iceland become such a booming place for tourists in recent years? I mean, 15 years ago, I hardly heard of anyone who was going to Iceland for a trip. What's changed?
OK, well, it's a great destination if you want to be, for example, breaking your journey on the way to the US. Lots of airlines, Icelandair and Play Airlines will take you to Reykjavik, give you a city break, and then you carry on from there to North America. But it's also absolutely fascinating. It's 3 hours flying time from southern Britain, only 2 hours from Scotland. You get there, it's a whole new world, really friendly, really welcoming. A little bit on the pricey side, 2 words for you, duty free.
Good beer I hear as well. Good beer.
But it's just absolutely terrific. And so, the other great thing that you are going to find is that you're going to be there at the best possible time in the entire cycle of Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis.
That's what we like to hear.
A spectacular show for you. So, your timing is perfect.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time. Simon Calder, their travel expert, bringing us the very latest from what's happening in Iceland.